Today I'm going to be sharing with you a couple of tips on what to look for if you're going to be renting a house in Nicaragua. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Elton and I've been living in Nicaragua for 3 years now, and I've been renting this house behind me. Now the renting process didn't go as smoothly as I thought, so I figured I'll make this video to help anyone out that's interested in alternative living and coming to a different country, because what I'm about to share with you can probably apply to all of Latin America here. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Now, at least for me, renting opportunities were slim, meaning there wasn't a lot of inventory in the market. That happens when you move away from the capital, which is parts of Nicaragua that aren't as populated, and there isn't a real estate for renting really nice homes that are set up 100% properly. So before we jump inside and I tell you what to look for inside the house, I figured I'll start outside. So when you rent a house, what you want to see is the neighborhood. So you want to be in a neighborhood that is quiet and it's mostly residential and families living. If you go rent a house and you see that there's a bar next door or there's a big commercial building, expect loud noises at night, expect parties, expect music, cars driving by. Here in Nicaragua, there's always some type of noise while you're trying to sleep. At 2 a.m. there's a random rooster, a random dog barking. So just be conscious of where you're renting, the location. And if there's just regular homes, regular working people next to you, that's always best, because it would be a quiet rental and it's probably safer for you to rent during that spot. So the location is important. I love my location here. It's a little like kind of cul-de-sac, so it's very quiet. My son plays here all the time. He's playing right now with that. So that's tip number one. Understand the location that you're looking and the street on where you're looking, because it might be very busy if you're next to a central street. There'll be too many cars passing. It'll be hard to park and you're gonna have problems, and it's gonna take you a long time just to get into your homes. This is what I mean about noise here. Hopefully you guys can hear that. So this is very common in Nicaragua. I think they're coming by right now because they're selling and they're buying and recycle. So they're just letting you know that they buy metal, batteries, and everything to recycle, which is awesome. But if you lived on the main street, this would be more frequent. You would have people passing by like that more often. But here it's once in a while, maybe once a month they'll come by. So if you want to unload all your recyclables, you can give it to them and they'll buy it off of you, which is amazing. But just know that in the main street, you get this constantly. People just going by and selling stuff. So the next thing we're going to talk about is that thing right behind me. You see that? That is actually a water tank. Now, it depends what city you're in. Managua, you might have better amenities. But I'm up north Nicaragua, and maybe even towards the Pacific. I've heard of people struggling with this, but water doesn't come every day. So out of 7 days a week, you might get water 3 to 4 days a week. And if there's a lot of hard rain, they will shut the water off for 2 to 3 days because the floodgates just have too much debris to push into the city. So number one thing to ask about is the water conditions. When you're gonna rent that home, you ask them, how frequently does the water come? How many days a week? And does the house have a proper water storage solution? Now, the fact that the water comes 3 to 4 days a week is not a deal breaker. It's just that you have to make sure that the house is set up to store enough water for you to have water when it does not come. So we've been in situations where we run out of water, which really sucks. That's like hurricane seasons when it rains a lot. Now we actually rent this house. So if we own this house, then we can solve this problem and just have 4 of those tanks and we'll be set. We won't even be worried about it. But since we rent, we haven't invested any money. So that was a hard learning lesson for us, is water. So if you do a lot of laundry, make sure that you do your laundry on water days, because that is when you're not going to deplete that right there. And sometimes when the water doesn't come strong enough with enough pressure, the water doesn't make it up to the tank. And then you could only do laundry, but you don't get water in your tank. So these kind of things, there's solutions around them, but you kind of have to own your home. Or maybe your landlord is really cool and they will make sure that you can deduct that from the rent if you decide to spend money on implementing more tanks, so you don't even have to worry about it. So, and Managua is different though. I have a friend that lives in Managua. He gets water 7 days a week. It comes out with a lot of pressure, clean water. So for him, he lives in luxury. I saw him washing his car one day. I was like, dude, you don't even know how I have it over here at this up north. So it's different, because in my farm, so my coffee farm further up north, I have a spring that's born in the mountains. So I get constant water, no problem. And if I owned a house here, I would maybe even do a well, and then that's it, solves the problem. But just ask for the water situation. All right, guys, you guys are gonna have to excuse my mess here right now. We are organizing the house and everything's in a mess. So if your house doesn't have a water tank, then more than likely you're gonna have a pila. This is what we call a pila here in Nicaragua. So a pila is a way to collect water when you don't have a tank. So what you would do is you'll turn that on when the water's coming, and you will let your pila fill up, and then people pull from there to wash their stuff. And this is what we call a lavandero here in Nicaragua. So you'll be able to wash whatever you want outside. But if the water's coming strong enough and you have a tank up top of your roof, you're gonna get water inside your house. So you don't, this really is just like a backup plan. So it's common for houses to have that pila right there and a lavandero. So you're gonna learn a little bit of Spanish here while you're watching this video. What I did is I installed a pump here. So basically I fill up my pila when there's really scarce water, and then I use that pump to pump it up to my tank. I have a tank here on the roof, and so I always have water no matter what. All right, next one, it's a big one. Not everyone has a laundry machine in Nicaragua, whether it's a washer or dryer. Most people are commonly washing clothes like this. So if you're looking for a house to rent, you are not gonna have 220 volt or the gas connections for your laundry machines if you want to buy one. So what we did, we looked around in Managua and we found a solution, which was one that runs off the standard voltage and then runs off a propane tank for drying. So with this, we're able to connect this washer and dryer. They're very efficient when it comes to water and electricity, so they don't use much. And then we're able to wash our clothes. So if you're renting a home and your idea is to get a washer and dryer, then think about that. If there isn't the right connection, if the home was built in the later years, they're definitely not going to have it. So you just have to find a solution, which is there. It's in Managua. If you want me to put the store, comment below and I can give you the store where I got these. But there's a solution. It's not a deal breaker. You just got to do things differently in different countries, you know? Now, before we go inside, a quick benefit about renting in Nicaragua is the fruit trees you get. We got this avocado tree with us. Last year, we got over 300 avocados that came off this tree. We have a nancite tree. This is called the nancite tree. It's a little fruit here. And then also we have an orange tree. So since the weather is good year round, you can plant bananas, you can plant all kinds of flowers, and everything just blooms here. I mean, look how beautiful and green it is here. So if you're gonna go to the backyard of the place you're planning on renting, just take a peep there and see what kind of fruit trees you can see that you have fruit eventually while you're renting. Now let's move inside. I got some other tips for you to look. That right there is what we call a suicide shower. So when we rented this house, we had 0 hot water to take showers. Now it gets really hot in Nicaragua, but in December timeframe, November, it's a little chilly, you know, so you want hot water, right? Especially if you have kids and stuff or a baby. So we had to install these suicide showers ourselves. So I found an electrician, he came out and he helped me. And then I spoke to the landlord and I was able to get that discounted off the rent. So if you are renting, look up. If you don't see one of these suicide showers, you more than likely won't have hot water in your home. It's not like in the US where you have a hot water heater somewhere else. Unless it's a really new build that they're doing, it will have it. Maybe if you go to all these new closed communities they're building in San Juan del Sur, who knows? But most of the time you won't have hot water. So definitely look for that if you're gonna be renting, and talk to the landlord about it. One big item that you have to consider before renting are all the fixtures and toilets. What happened here is this house had been sitting stagnant for a long time. So when we rented the house, we turned on the water, and guess what? Everything started leaking because the house was sitting stagnant. The rubber seals wore off or dried out on everything that distributes water. So we had to replace a bunch of fixture and hoses. And good thing that the landlord was super understandable. She apologized and she said, take it off the rent, take care of it, and we'll deduct it. So that's one thing to look at. How long has the house been sitting stagnant? Because of that, then you're probably more than likely gonna have leaks, and you're gonna have to do like an in-depth cleaning, or the backyard might be overgrown and stuff like what happened here. We had to hire a gardener right before we moved in. Now, if you work remote or you work from home, this one's gonna be important for you. There's a lot of construction going on in Nicaragua right now, whether it be new roads, new ports, or updating all the transformers on the electrical poles. But the electricity goes out a lot for us. And it's just intermittent. So go out 5 minutes, come back on, and it will just go out throughout the day. So if you are reliant on internet constantly, you need to come up with a solution, whether buying a little backup battery, so when it goes out, your internet stays on, or getting solar, but solar will be a bigger investment. So if you're coming to Nicaragua, just know that you are probably gonna run into a power outage at some point while you're here, while they're working on that. Now for us at our farm, we're doing solar, so we're never gonna have this problem. So we'll have full water and then full solar, so we're good to go. Then again, like I told you, if we owned a home like this, we would just install solar and then problem solved. So something to consider. Power outages here in Nicaragua do happen, and it's part of life while they're doing all this construction out here. I'm gonna give you guys a quick tour inside the house, and then I'm gonna tell you how much we pay for rent, and then with some thoughts about renting here. But if you found value in this, like and comment below. Definitely want to share with you guys everything that we've gone through, so just in case if you're ever in this position yourself. Let's jump right in. Just another tip: when you rent the house and you don't have screens in the house or in your windows, just know that you'll be attacked by mosquitoes. There's a lot of mosquitoes here in Nicaragua. We had these screens made and we installed them in every window, so that way when we're chilling, we're hanging out inside the house, we don't have to worry about insects coming in and stuff like that. So something to consider. You might want to get this done. It's definitely worth it for comfort and peace. So here's our kitchen here. We absolutely love this kitchen. We had this island made by a local craftsman, and it's walnut, and it's perfect for us, along with the cutting board, and it has everything we need for the family of our size. We did have to buy the stove. It didn't come with the stove, so we'll be taking that once we move. But everything else was here, with the exception of my coffee station there that I had made. We also have a nice little coffee bar. This has 3 rooms. I'm not going to show you the room because it's kind of personal, but has a kitchen area, living room area, another living room, 2 rooms here, a bathroom, and also it has a garage. So we do have 1-car garage in here, which we have a bunch of stuff stored in there for the farm that we're working on. So overall it's 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2 living rooms, a kitchen area, and a 1-car garage backyard for $280 a month. Comment below, let me know what you think in terms of pricing. You think that's cheap? How much are you paying for your rent here? All right, to touch base on a couple of things. Number one, pricing. $280, that's the reason I don't complain. Like, if you're paying $150 to rent a home, I mean, how much more can you really expect from that house? You know, so I am realistic with my expectations. I understand that's really cheap. So everything that I just told you about the water situation, there's a workaround. Electricity, there's a workaround. All the hardware stuff about the faucets, there's a workaround. You just have to put elbow grease into a home that you're gonna be renting here. Now, my scenario is slightly different, and that's because I'm in an area of Nicaragua that doesn't get a lot of tourism. So renting a home here is harder because the conditions of the home are just a lot less upscale than you would find in San Juan del Sur or in Granada, where they get all the tourism. Over there, you find homes that are incredibly beautiful, like Malibu beachfront, and also you find homes like this here. So if you wanted to rent in Nicaragua, but you want something more upscale, you're gonna have to go where the tourists are. And so that's gonna be in Granada, León, San Juan del Sur, Popoyo, or you buy a lot, I guess, at that point and you build it yourself, but that's a whole different video there. If you guys want a video about buying a home and building, let me know, comment below. But yeah, that's the perspective. There are options. So the further you get away from tourism, the harder it is to rent. But the closer you get away from tourism to the beach, you'll find options, but there isn't a lot. It's just that they're better options in terms of amenities. So I hope this video finds you well and you found value out of this video. We're building a coffee farm out here in Nicaragua. I love living here in Nicaragua, and the reason I'm here is because of the people. This dream of building a coffee farm and doing good in the community. Comment below, what did you think about the video? What do you think about the rent? Do you have any questions or any follow-up videos that you guys want? If you loved this one, check out this next video. You'll definitely like it. Cheers. It is your Coffee Familia signing off.